Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to this early morning, middle of the night bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into this early morning, middle of the night bonus upload, shall we? Alright, today's first subscriber submitted encounters. He's got 3 of them. His name's James. Jeff, my name is James, and I've had a couple of encounters that I'd like to share with you. You can narrate them on your channel if you choose. Encounter 1, 2002. So I've been thinking about writing this out at some point for a long time. I'm no writer, but the experience goes like this. Also keep in mind that I'm going to see how a more condensed version is first and go from there. It's 2002. Just 2 weeks before Christmas, I'm having trouble sleeping. So I decide to go coyote hunting by myself. No one knew I had left. It was around 11:30 p.m. No cell phones of any kind. Bad idea. I started my trek as always, down a well-used trail until reaching a steep section covered in multi-floor rosebush. However, I had previously cut a path, and it wasn't hard to navigate, even in snow that had been falling. I continued down the hill and reached a large ravine that sits not too far behind my house. Moving to the left, I went about another 100 yards or so to where it plays out, and you can cross a shallow stream. I cross the stream and proceed up a long, snow-covered hillside trail. Getting to the top, I went into action, setting up all of my gear and finding a spot with a good backrest and a nice firing lane. My back is rested against a large pile of crush and run. My shotgun is leveled across my knees. I sat there getting colder and colder and more snow covered by the minute. So after 45 minutes to an hour, I decide to quit and pack everything up. This is when things get a little scary. I grab my red filtered 1 mil candle-powered field spotlight. When I turn it on, luck was on my side, and I saw it around 10 feet away, nose to the ground, in my direction on all fours. The light coming on didn't even startle or faze the creature. It's like it knew right where I was, and knew the light would be on at any second. It then took a step towards me and lifted up onto 2 legs. It didn't break or crack when it stood. The only noise that I could note was a low, deep-sounding pop in its ribs or sternum area. It stretched out and puffed its chest as if it wasn't big enough. I'd have to say that it was at least 7 to 8 feet tall with 5-fingered hands with 2-inch claws attached to each finger. This Dogman never opened its mouth, so I cannot comment on its teeth. It took a step towards me, and having my shotgun already leveled, I fired a shot that hit it right mid-upper portion of its ribs. Mind you, that hitting something this close with a shotgun usually causes a major hole that nothing could walk away from. The shot let loose a mist of blood in red-tinged light of my spotting lamp. It let out this loud yelp, then tucked its ears and ran to my right. It made it out of the light circle in 2 strides. I fired 2 more times at it, but it was much too quick and I missed. I got up and started walking in the direction that it ran, forgetting momentarily to reload the shotgun. I walked for about 10 feet and found a large pool of blood, then walked a few more feet and found less blood. This process repeated until around 30 feet from where I initially started, and there was no blood, just footprints. It's as if this thing could regenerate or something to heal itself. Such a massive wound so quickly, I stopped and realized how stupid I was being going after this creature that I had just wounded. I didn't know they hunted in packs then. I just thought I had encountered a real-life werewolf. I then trudged home in night with a surely wounded God knows what potentially circling me the whole way. I took my time getting back. It took me 2 hours to walk what normally takes a half an hour. I made it back home, went to bed, and never spoke of that night again until 2019. I hardly hunt anymore due to health problems, but even if I was healthy, going back out there, you would always be looking over your shoulder. However, I am working on getting a group of professional cryptid researchers to come and take a look. By the way, guys, if you guys are wondering why my door opened, my cat just walked in. Sorry. His second encounter, 2003. While walking to a friend's house, I was met by a large canine coming out of the woods in front of me, about 50 feet. It looked like the combination between a bull mastiff, a Rottweiler, and a Doberman, only this animal was 4 to 5 feet at its shoulders while on all fours. It seemed to be at least 3 times the size of a mastiff. It was a solid-looking animal. I watched it as it covered that 50 feet in less than 5 seconds, and it was to me. It got right up to me and lunged forward to attack using only its mouth. I had no weapons or no good defensive alternatives, so I did the only thing that popped into my mind. I turned my body to the right, ramming my arm as deep as it would go down this creature's throat, which was a few inches above my elbow. It must have been a juvenile, as it was inexperienced and its teeth were not extremely sharp. I barely had a scratch on my arm. After jamming my arm down its gullet, I then grabbed it around its neck with my free right arm and began to try and choke it with all my strength. I squeezed for a good 2 or 3 minutes. The tension in its body relaxed, and then I slowly stood, shaking the goo off my arm. Talk about a smell. It only took a minute or so for the creature to get back onto all fours. It stood there gagging for a minute and then locked eyes with me and gave me this look of hatred. Then it turned and ran back into the woods. Both of its front feet were actually hands, as it had 5-digit fingers, although the claw-like nails at the end were less than 2 inches. I didn't get a great look at its back feet, but it had the most golden eyes I had ever seen. Again, this event took place at nearly dusk, so I didn't make out all the colors on it. It was dark, not jet black, but a very deep brown in coloration. If I had to guess, I would say it was 6.5 feet long from the snout to the base of its tail. This one had a longer tail, about 2.5 feet long. Also, it felt like it weighed 200 pounds. It was probably heavier than that, but I once again was lucky. I was pretty strong in my younger days and was able to stalemate its attack. Now, I haven't shared this experience with many people, and I ask you to just keep it with our group. People have a tendency to think that you're crazy when you tell them you went one-on-one with a dogman. It appears there may be a living, breeding population of these creatures in this spot, and I am intending to find out this summer. So tonight's second subscriber submitted story, we talk a lot on the channel about, different types of dogman, physical, spiritual, whether they come out of portals. This fits into that almost spiritual, demonic-like ones. Jeff, I'd like to thank you in advance for taking time to read my experience. I really enjoy your channel and the information you share with us. I had an experience with something when I was 8 years old. I'm 37 now, and I've thought about this often throughout the years. Until last month, while having lunch with my mom, my experience was back in '93. My parents were remodeling the second floor of our home, so during the renovations, we all camped out in the living room. My mom set up air mattresses, tons of blankets, pillows after dinner, so we could get some sleep. My dad would turn off the remaining lights downstairs and mute the television once my brothers and I were asleep. I woke up during the night with everyone sleeping. I heard a growl. I remember sitting right up. Feeling scared, I turned my head toward the dining room and the kitchen. I saw about 3 dogs. It was dark in that area, but I could clearly see black wolves with red eyes. They were pacing the room, but I never took my eyes off of them, and they never me. I was frozen, just sitting there, staring back, shaking with fear, for a few minutes until I finally softly said, "Mom, Mom," over and over until she woke up. I remember my mom hugging me, telling me I was safe and to go back to sleep. I said, "Do you see the dogs?" She hugged me tighter, saying it was a dream and that I was safe to close my eyes and just go back to sleep. I never spoke about that night again until last month. My mom and I were having lunch, and we were talking about the good old days, laughing until I looked at her and said, "Mom, do you remember the night we were camping in the living room, and I woke you up because of the black dogs?" And before I could finish, her face turned completely white and said, "With the red eyes." I was a little worried looking at her, how pale she had turned and confused with the tone in her voice. I said, "What's wrong?" trying to lighten the mood. I laughed and said, "It was just a dream, Mom." She turned and said with a straight face, "That was not a dream. I woke up and saw you sitting up staring into the dining room in the kitchen area, and I turned to see what you were looking at. I saw these dark black dogs with red eyes pacing back and forth staring at you." She said even after she had me in her arms, their eyes were still locked on me, pacing. I never saw them again after that night. My mom refused to speak about it anymore. She just looked at me, straight into my eyes, and said, "That was not a dream." She saw them too, and she would not speak of it again. Jeff, that's my experience, and I now know that it was not a dream. I now spend my days wondering what this means. The fear and confusion of what I was looking at that night will be with me until the day I die. Maybe by sharing, though, it may help. Thank you. So, like I said, I think that encounter really falls into that spiritual dogman. And there was one encounter, I forgot where I heard it from. I believe it was a subscriber had sent it to me. And they were outside, they were camping, and they were outside, and they had seen this huge dog, like monster, running towards them. And it was on all fours, and they ran back into their cabin. As they ran into the cabin, they shut the door and proceeded to go to the back, furthest away from the front door. When they get to the back of the cabin, it's not a 2-story cabin, it's a 1-story cabin. and the back window is like 15 feet off the ground. And they look out the back window and they see these just bright red eyes staring at them. And, I've really never heard of a Dogman being 15 feet tall. And this person that I heard it from really thinks that it was some sort of demonic like creature. So maybe that's what these things were. All right, guys, so let's jump into the video that I shared yesterday with you all. And it is what appears to be a homeowner, possibly a farmer. You can see the land. It looks like he's got a lot of land. And there's these eye shine in the background, and he's making it out like, what the hell? Actually, he's telling us. You can hear him explain what's going on. And then he takes a shot. And I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a Bigfoot, Dogman. But with the eye shine, to me, I'd say Dogman. If it's anything at all, I wasn't there, so I don't know the exact, I wasn't there, we weren't there, so we can only just base our views and our theories off of this video. You guys check it out. Let me know what you think.
Might actually get to capture something here. Son of a bitch. All right, whatever you are, you need to leave. Stay out of this place. This is our home. This is our home. You need to leave. You leave now. I don't think it's going to come around for a little bit. I think that'll keep. Might actually get to capture something here. Son of a bitch. All right, whatever you are, you need to leave. Stay out of this place. This is our home. This is our home. You need to leave. You leave now. I don't think it's going to come around for a little bit.
So once again, I don't know what's going on. He explains it the best he can to us. You can see some sort of eye shine out in the distance, and he doesn't explain what it is. He just explains that it's back, so it's obvious that he's had this reoccurring issue with it, or them, we don't know. Takes a shot, and I'm looking for more of this. I'm looking for more video of this because I want to know what happened after the shot was taken. I wonder if there's any videos from previous days, previous nights, nights afterward. I will keep my eyes peeled for you all. And if you guys stumble upon something, please share it with me because I'm really, really fascinated now. Let's get on to tonight's third subscriber submitted encounter. Hey Jeff, how are you? First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself before getting into my experience with my own personal encounter with the Dogman. My name is Ryan, but most of my friends call me Bull. I'm an avid hunter and outdoorsman. I've always in the mountains doing something with nature. It was fall of 2020, and Pennsylvania rifle season had opened the Saturday before, and as usual, my best friend and hunting partner, Jeff, had left my house about a half an hour south of where we had planned to hunt our favorite mountain in the Machu State Forest, Adams County, Pennsylvania, just above the town of Fairfield. The ride up the mountain is 90% dirt logging road, travels up the mountain, no cell service, and here or there you would pass an old hunting cabin, but they are few and far between. So we start up the mountain. We had a small doe run across in front of the pickup. I figure, hey, today may be a pretty good day in the woods. We made it up the ridge to our pull-off. It was about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning at this point. We got out of the truck, load up, and head to our stands. Now, we have about a mile or so to walk into the woods before there's a fork in the trail where Jeff and I split up and go in our directions to our own spots. But we kept in communication via walkie-talkie, so I eventually reached my stand, got settled in for the morning, and it was your typical morning in the woods. Deer, birds chirping, squirrels running around the normal. I had sat till around 10:30 in the morning, got a radio call from Jeff that he hadn't seen anything that morning, nor had I, so we decided to head off the mountain and go get some breakfast at the local diner down at the bottom of the mountain. After breakfast, the weather had kind of started to turn rainy and gloomy. Jeff decided he wasn't heading back out and wanted to stay home for the evening, so I dropped him off. I headed back out there for the evening, and I reached our pull-off at around 2 in the afternoon. After just taking the drive around the logging roads and seeing if I could see deer moving across the ridge, parked the truck, shut off the engine, climbed out, and grabbed my pack. I headed for my stand. After walking in, I reached my stand at around 2:45. Climbed up and settled in for the evening. Few hours had passed. Hadn't seen much besides a spike buck, small doe, and it was getting to be that magic hour, the last hour to 45 minutes before dark, when everything is starting to get on its feet and start moving out of their bedding areas. Well, it was about 5:15 or so, I guess, and I heard some things snap to my left. I look up and I saw some ears of a doe coming through the mountain laurel. So I grabbed my 30-06 and got ready to take my shot. Well, she had walked out into this little opening, but had stopped just behind the laurel. So I waited and she poked her head out, but still no shot. Then I had noticed the woods had started to get silent. And I'm talking no wind, birds, chipmunks, nothing made a sound. And then I heard a snap of a decent-sized stick, and I figured maybe a buck was following the doe. Well, she had her shot here, head up, and stomped her feet twice, hooves twice, and bolted off into the woods. I mean, within seconds she was gone. Mind you, at this point, I could see that the underbrush in mountain laurel and it's starting to get dark at that point. It's hard to see into. So I was on watch for whatever had broken that stick. Then I start to get this musky smell, almost like a dead animal or stagnant pond water and ammonia. It was horrible. No idea where it was coming from, so I gathered my gear, got down, and made my way out the logging road and started the trek back to the truck. On the way, I was about a quarter of the way back when I had just gotten this feeling like I was being followed. Now I know the area have bear, coyotes, and an occasional mountain lion sighting, which was always shot down by forest rangers and game wardens as people seeing bobcats, but I know better. I shined my light around me and didn't see anything out of the ordinary, but still just had that feeling. So I picked up the pace, got back to the truck, and put my gear into the truck except my rifle. I had started getting that smell coming back again up the logging road, so I shined my light out of curiosity Curiosity got the better of me. And I would say about 100 yards or so back, I see two reddish-orange eyes. No normal animal has that kind of eye shine, so I yell, "Hey, get out of here," at least 3 times, but nothing fazed it, so I raised my rifle and fire a shot into the area above it. Then this creature stands on its hind legs, and it had to be somewhere between 7 to 8 feet tall, I'd guess, and I could make out pointed ears and an elongated snout. It let out the most god-awful guttural howl I'd ever heard in my life. I threw my rifle inside my truck, jumped in, and took off down the mountain, never looking back again to this day. I have not stepped foot onto that logging trail since. Not sure if I ever will again after that experience. Alright guys, tonight's final encounter. Good morning, Jeff. I live in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. I work south of Allentown, PA, in Home Depot. My commute is usually 45 minutes, but it takes 35 minutes to get there. I take the back roads for about 5 to 10 minutes, then hop on the highway to 78 West for the rest of the way. Just like any other night, I was making my way to work doing 45 in a 30. I hop onto the ramp to 78. Well, on 78, I'm doing 10 miles above the speed limit. 10 minutes into the drive on the highway, I get pulled over. The officer asks me why I was on the road and was I aware of my speeding. My response was, "No, officer, and I work at Home Depot. I'm only about 15 minutes away." So I provide him with my documents. As I'm giving him my license and stuff, I look in the rearview mirror and see 2 pairs of orangish, reddish eyes approaching his vehicle, which was about 30 feet away from mine. "WTF is that, officer?" Was like, "Yeah, right." I was like, "No, there are some sort of creature with reddish orange eyes approaching your vehicle." His eyes were as big as saucers, as if he knew what I was talking about. He turned and looked and, oh crap, hops into my car and he tells me to peel out. I'm hysterical. WTF was that? As we get 5 miles from the area, he asked me to drop him off at the station. There was another patrolman on duty. As he did, he told me those things are called Dogman, and he encountered them a couple times already. I don't think they were after you, however. They're always watch your surroundings and stay armed if you can. Best thing I can tell you is look for Dogman encounters on YouTube, and you will learn some things about them. It had been a week since my encounter, and I binged your entire show in 3 days before I contacted you. And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this early morning, middle of the night bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you for supporting the channel. It is your support, after all, that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.